Hello. All right. Welcome to our next week. We are going to be doing group projects this week. So we discussed chapter 10 last week, which goes over a lot of information about just important information on how to communicate in groups. There was a lot of tips that were in the chapter, if you read it, that basically are very helpful for general rules of how you should function in a group. And especially in an online group, it's a little bit different. And if you've never worked on a group project in an online group before, it's going to probably be a little bit odd at first. But the main thing that you need to do is just make sure that you check in early. I'm going to send an email basically tonight because it's Sunday right now. I'm going to send an email tonight to the whole class to basically remind everyone that you need to check in by Monday or Tuesday because you're going to have group members that are going to be waiting on you. And then once you've checked in, basically follow the directions. What I'm going to do here is, as you can see, I have basically this module here that's opened up so I can kind of go through it real quickly, like what we're going to be doing and basically where you're going to submit things and how it's going to work. If you're in one of my 8 weeks class, it'll likely say a different week here, but for the 16 weeks class, I generally do the group project in week 5. And so what you're going to see in the very first tab is the group project instructions. So when you click on this, we'll click on that. I think my face is going to go away here for a second and it'll pop back up. It's a Microsoft document and you'll be able to pull it up. It's pretty simple directions. You just need to read through it thoroughly so that way you understand what you're going to be doing with the group. So go ahead and read these directions. And basically when you get to the instructions, right here, what's highlighted in red is what you all need to find and what your goal is for your group project. And down here after that is basically telling you how you're going to submit it. And then one other thing that I have to add is after you've completed your group project, so once everybody's done their part and someone has put the project together and it's ready to be submitted, every single person individually needs to complete this individual group project assessment. You're not sharing these results with anybody else in your group. You're basically submitting this because it's something for me. So that way I can get input from each individual group member, how your group process went, what went well, what things did not work well. And it's kind of your chance to reflect on the experience of being in a group, in an online group, and how it worked out. And the main thing that's going to make your group successful is if you all are very good about checking in several times throughout the week. So that way people are, aware that you are working on what you say you're working on, what your progress is, where you're at. So just make sure you're checking in throughout the week very often. And I would generally say maybe at the very beginning when you all are introducing each other, usually what happens is there's usually one person in the group that's pretty willing to kind of take charge and get things organized and get people on the right track. And that's fine because there should always be some level of a group leader. Sometimes there's two people that are kind of, tag teaming and they're both making sure that everybody's kind of keeping on track and understanding where the group's at. And another thing that I suggest is as soon as kind of everybody, it looks like everyone's checked in or most of the people have checked in, you're basically going to want to decide as a group how you're going to split up the work. Some people may do the research part. Some people may be better at maybe making PowerPoint presentations or putting a project together in a Microsoft Word document. You have a choice whether you want to do it more like a presentation or whether you want to put it together more like a document. But either way that you do it, make sure all the information is very clear, that I can see all of these points here that I'm asking for and I can see it thoroughly. If you're doing a PowerPoint presentation, don't just do little bullet points that don't have a lot of information. I still want this thorough information regardless of whether you're doing it as a PowerPoint presentation. So that is your choice. And you will notice here when you read these directions that at the end of the week or when you guys have decided that everything's going to come together and whoever it is that's putting all of everybody's pieces together in the project, what's important to note is the actual final project only needs to be submitted by one person in the group. There's going to be a folder there in that week 5 folder, or if you're in my 8 weeks class, it'll likely be in the week 3 or week 2 folder that you all are going to be doing the group project. But anyway, there's going to be an actual folder that is where you're going to submit the assignment. So only one person in the group is going to submit it. So you guys have to kind of decide who's going to be the person that's going to be responsible for submitting it on time for the group. So one person submits it, but every single person in the group has to do that individual assessment on their own, and you're going to submit it on your own to that same folder that you are putting your final project in. So everybody will be submitting something. One person is going to submit the actual final project for the group. Make sure everybody's name who participated, make sure everyone's name is on the project, so that way everyone gets credit for it. And then everyone individually complete that assessment after the group project has been finished and everyone's come together and put their parts together. That's when you should be assessing how things went with your group. So just make sure that everyone is submitting basically the individual assessment and then choosing one person in the group who is going to submit the final project. So let's go back to our folder, our module, so we can see some of the other information there. So there's very thorough directions on how you're going to complete the group project. And then let's see here. What you're going to see where it says group assessment questionnaire right here, that is the individual assessment questionnaire. So that's what every single person in the group is going to be filling out after the group project has been completed and everyone has done their part. It's another Microsoft Word document, so you can print it and fill it out by hand, or since it's a Microsoft Word document, if you just want to type your answers into it and then save that and submit it, that's fine too. And so you'll see here, this is what the questions that I'm asking. So the overall group project is worth 25 points. So if you participate with your group and you are an active member, you can potentially earn the full 25 points for the group project. However, if you do not submit the individual assessment, that is an automatic 5 points off. So everyone in the group could potentially get a different grade. The people who submit both like they're supposed to, the final project gets submitted by one group member and then they submit their individual assessment, they have the basic ability to be able to earn the full 25 points. If you do not submit the individual assessment, it's an automatic 5 points off. So I just want you to be aware of that. So you would essentially, if the rest of the group earned 25 points because they submitted their individual assessment, but you don't, you potentially might only earn 20 points for the project. And I will let it know because I do not think it's fair if there is a group member that does not check in, or if they check in so late in the week that they have not participated with the group, they will not get credit for this project. So if you check in Monday or Tuesday and you get going with your group and you're helping out, you're submitting things, you're checking in with your group, great, you shouldn't have to worry. But let's say even if you check in Monday or Tuesday and you just say hi and introduce yourself, but then the rest of the week you never do anything, you don't contribute, you don't turn anything in, you don't help, you're not going to earn credit for the group project. And then also the situation, which does happen a lot, is sometimes some students, for whatever reason, they don't check in until Friday or Saturday during the week. And by that time, pretty much most of the groups have gotten going. People have already submitted parts and most of the project has already been completed. So if you do not log in early enough that you are able to get in with the group, decide how you're going to split up the work, and then be able to submit a portion of it so you have been an active participant in the group. If you don't log in until Friday or Saturday and then you just check in and you're like, hey, I'm here, more than likely the group project's already been completed and you probably will not receive credit. So what you need to do, so here's the group assessment questionnaire. So just make sure after you've completed the group project and everyone's submitted their part that every single person fills this out and submits it. Let me go back to the week folder there in the module. So, all right. Okay. So basically here, you're going to find all of the groups, group 1, 2, 3, and 4. There's going to be 4 groups. I have randomly placed people in different groups, so that way it kind of mixes it up because there's usually always a couple of students in each group that don't check in, don't participate. So I try to make several members in each group so that way if there are a couple of people that never check in, you still have several people who are helping out. So one thing I would recommend is after you've checked in, most of the people, if it looks like most of the people in your group have checked in and you started discussing how you want to split things up, be prepared that if a certain group member never checks in, you still need to complete all of the resources that I'm asking for in the instructions. So you may have to midway through the week, alter your plan, because if you were planning on, leaving something for a couple of group members that haven't checked in yet, and then they never do check in, you still need to do the same amount of resources that are in the instructions. So you just need to kind of have a backup plan. That's one piece of advice that I would give you. And then basically just make sure that if there are any issues, if there's anything, maybe a student is not participating or they kind of checked in, never participated, whatever the case may be, feel free to email me throughout the week. If there's someone that maybe you want me to try to email and I can see if I can get them, into the group to participate. So if you have noticed that there's been someone in the first day or two of class that have not checked in at all, I can try emailing them and see if they can check in. So that way they're, trying to help out and be a part of the group. And then basically the one thing I do want to mention is that when you check through your group and you find which one that you're in, all of your communication for the group needs to be in the discussion folder that is assigned to you. So anytime you're discussing how you're going to split things up, what you're going to do, you're turning in your parts so somebody can put everything together. All of that needs to be in your group discussion folder, because that is the only way that I can monitor and make sure that somebody is being active in the group. Because at the end, when everybody's submitted their projects and everything's been turned in, I go to your group folder and I check all of the different messages that have been going on. And throughout the week, actually, I'm going to kind of log in and I'm going to look and see how people are participating. And that's how I'm basically going to verify that somebody has actually participated in the group and they've actually been an active member, not just checked in, but actually have been an active member in the group. So just make sure all your communication is in the group folder. And basically it's a discussion post. So you're just going to hit reply. And anytime you're wanting to add anything, you're hitting reply and you're adding more information. So it's pretty simple. You just kind of have to get into the swing of it and make sure you're being an active participant. If there is any questions about the goal or what it is you're supposed to be doing in the group project, just send me an email and I'll try to explain it. But the instructions are pretty straightforward. It's not a hard project. It's just a matter of getting everybody to check in and figuring out how you're going to split up the work and how you're going to do it and when you're going to have everybody turn in their parts. So that way, you all have communication going and you know what's going on and you have some ground rules set. So that way everybody knows what's going on and there's not really as much confusion. So that'll make it a lot easier. Okay. And then the only thing, and then that's pretty much it, is just basically, as you will see here, is the week 5 group project and group assessment assignment folder. So basically here is where you're going to click. And when you've completed your final project, whether you've done it as a PowerPoint or whether you've done it as a Microsoft Word document, when you've completed it and whoever's put it all together, whoever it is that basically volunteered to submit it for the group, you're going to click on this assignment folder and you're going to submit it there for everyone. And then individually, every single person in the group needs to do this group assessment questionnaire and submit it to this same folder. So that's basically how that's going to go. Other than that, it's pretty straightforward. Yeah, just give me an email if you have any questions, but hopefully this is pretty straightforward. And that is it for our week 5, or if you're in my 8 weeks class, it's going to probably be week 3. That's going to be it for that. So just hopefully get started. I'm going to send an email right now. So that way everybody kind of knows to check in early. And that way, hopefully we get more people to check in right away. So that way you all can get started on your projects and kind of get it going. All right. That is it.